Hadir Karim was just revealed at the end of the second raid in Modern Warfare 2. The raid reveals that he's the commander of the Al-Qatala forces, and he is the one who is stealing this nuclear warhead to use against civilians in Russia. He's trying to get people to partner with him and help him out, but he is in control of Al-Qatala in its entirety. Not only did this raid reveal a fan favorite character, Alex, but it also revealed that Hadir Karim is back, and everyone thought he was in prison. So we're going to break down everything that's happened to Hadir Karim since the end of Modern Warfare 2019. Starting off with, at the end of Modern Warfare 2019, he was thrown in jail in a Russian prison. He was handed over to the Russians to help kind of keep the peace between the United States and the Russians. At the end of the Modern Warfare 2019 campaign, you killed General Barkov. General Barkov had a very high position of power in the Russian government. As a matter of fact, he was kind of the liaison to everything that was happening in the Middle East. And with the death of General Barkov, this created a massive power vacuum. You now had to fill this power vacuum with somebody who had great sway in the Russian government, lots of money to fund all the things the Russian government wanted to do in the Middle East, and somebody who had a very, very big interest in the Middle East. And this was filled by the Zakayev family, Viktor and Imran Zakayev. They took control of this seat of power in the Russian government, and as a matter of fact, it was revealed by Kate Laswell at the very end of the Modern Warfare 2019 campaign that they had a big interest in Hadir. But there's a lot of hints earlier on that the Zakayev family was actually the ones who broke Hadir Karim out of prison. And as a matter of fact, they put him in position of power in Al-Qatala. With the death of the Wolf and the Butcher in Al-Qatala, someone had to fill that power vacuum. And that was Hadir Karim, the young blood, the revolutionary. Hadir Karim fit the position of power in Al-Qatala perfectly. Not only did the Russians get him out of prison, they gave him control of Al-Qatala and supplied him with arms, munitions, vehicles, weapons, everything that he needed to invade Verdansk. With Hadir Karim now as the head of Al-Qatala, he wanted to reimagine himself as well. He came up with a new name, a name that was based off something from his childhood. In the Modern Warfare 2019 campaign, it's revealed that his dad always called him the Lion Cub, or the Little Lion. However, the name Khaled al Asad, as directly translated by Kate Laswell, means the Immortal Lion. And this is definitely a step for Hadir Karim to reimagine himself, to re-empower himself with something from his childhood, something that meant a lot to him. His father was a revolutionary fighter who fought against the Russian invasion and actually died in his own house fighting the Russians. Hadir Karim wants to fight the Russians. He wants to be a great revolutionary leader, and he's not afraid to cross lines. So he took this name that his father had given him and kind of capitalized on it and turned himself into Khaled al Asad, the Immortal Lion, the new leader of Al-Qatala. After a little while into the invasion of Verdansk, it's revealed that Khaled al Asad, or Hadir Karim, is just kind of told, go home. The Zakayev family has it now. We got the missiles, we know the locations and the codes, and we're going to try to launch this. You can go back to Urzikstan and continue doing what you're doing best. We'll continue to fund you, we'll continue to give you weapons, but you need to go do your thing. So Hadir Karim travels back to Urzikstan, and he actually starts trying to spread the Al-Qatala message and the Al-Qatala organization and make it a bigger worldwide organization, not just a small little resistance group set in Urzikstan. And one of the ways that Hadir finds a lot of success spreading the message of Al-Qatala into the nearby area is actually to find people in nearby organizations, nearby militaries, people who are just upset about the way things are, and try to convince them to join. And he starts trying to partner with different militaries in different countries nearby. These militaries are people who are upset with the way the Americans come in and just destroy everything, or the Russians come in and destroy everything, and then leave and tell you to sort out your own problems. People who are upset with the way that things have been, and especially with the new kind of impoverished, war-torn country that they've become. And one of the people that Hadir Karim finds lots of success in turning to his side is General Ghorbrani. General Ghorbrani actually listens to Khaled al Asad and all the messages that Hadir Karim is telling him. And what this reveals to him is that there's a lot of people who think the way he does. He's very upset with the Iranian government. The Iranian government is just a mess. They're not letting him do what he wants. They're not letting him try to stop the Russian and American invaders coming into his country and killing people. They're just telling him to sit tight, you're the general, you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't interfere with these people. And he finds a lot of sense in what Hadir Karim is saying. Hadir Karim is telling him we need to strike back at the Russians and the Americans and show them that they can't just come into our country and do whatever they want. So now General Ghorbrani, a man who's in charge of the entire military budget and is now becoming an Al-Qatala member and an Al-Qatala extremist with a high position of power in the Al-Qatala forces themselves, now starts spending money on arms for Al-Qatala, using the Iranian government's money. Hadir Karim and General Ghorbrani start buying weapons from Russians and, more specifically, a Russian arms dealer. More specifically, a Russian arms dealing family, the Zakayev family. However, in Warzone 1, it's revealed that Imran Zakayev died a little while before the invasion of Verdansk, and his son Viktor Zakayev was the one who was actually leading everything. However, in Warzone, Viktor Zakayev actually dies. He gets thrown down a missile silo by Captain Price. So now someone has to take control of the Zakayev family and the Zakayev arms dealing. Vladimir Makarov steps in. and he starts trying to grow the organization. He's a Russian ultranationalist who wants to make the Americans pay for everything they've done to his government. He thinks that the Russians will actually win a world war between the United States and Russia. So Makarov's plan revolves around what's called small wars theory. You do a bunch of small little conflicts that make it seem like another country is actively pursuing a conflict against your country. A great example of small wars theory was the actual original No Russian mission. You use American language, American weapons, American bullet casings, and you attack a Russian place. Doing so makes it seem like the Americans were the ones who did it. He's trying to set up the Americans to make it look like the Americans are attacking Russia. And one of the ways he's doing this is by using Al-Qatala to do these missions for him. So Hadir Karim does not know any of this. Hadir Karim is just kind of following along with Makarov says, because him and Makarov have a mutual distaste of the Russian government as the way it is, and the American government as the way it is. However, Hadir Karim's plan to continually grow Al-Qatala and keep buying more weapons and supplies through General Ghorbani is kind of brought to a standstill when the Americans wipe General Ghorbani off the face of the earth. This man doesn't even exist as a single particle anymore, he's just gone. General Ghorbani's death brought out an opportunity for Makarov and for Al-Qatala. Hassan Zyani, General Ghorbani's second in command and a member of Al-Qatala, was deeply enraged by the fact that General Ghorbani died, somebody who was fighting so hard to help grow Al-Qatala and try to stop this foreign influence of their country. And to be killed by foreigners in his own country kind of brought out just rage inside Hassan Zyani. So Hassan Zyani wants to get back at the Americans immediately. And Makarov, not one to miss an opportunity, sets up an ambush of an American private military company and steals their missiles. One of the main missions in Modern Warfare 2 that reveals the main conflict of Modern Warfare 2 was when these missiles got stolen. It was stolen by Makarov, and Makarov turned around and handed them to Hassan Zyani, told him, "You need to go attack the Americans. I will help you smuggle everything into the United States to do it." So Hassan Zyani takes these missiles and actually partners up with the cartel. Specifically, Makarov is the one who put these cartels together. And that's when the events of Modern Warfare 2's campaign take place. However, Hadir Karim is doing something in the background this entire time. Not only is Hadir Karim now the only person in charge of Al-Qatala, he wants to make the Russians pay for everything they've done. Hassan Zyani is in charge of making the Americans pay for what happened. He wants the Russians to pay. He has a deep hatred towards the Russians for everything they've done to his country and to his family specifically. This is when Makarov reveals to him that there is an atom grab, an underground nuclear facility with an ICBM and a nuclear warhead. Makarov says, "I will give you the information about how to get into the facility, get the nuclear warhead, and you have to use it against a certain location in Russia. And doing so will actually cause a massive conflict in Russia, because now someone will have used a nuclear weapon against the Russians. Now, why would a Russian use a nuclear weapon against themselves? The only other country who would use a nuclear weapon would be America, and that's if they were trying to make a big conflict. So this is kind of building towards a small wars theory, making the other country look like they did something to attack your country personally, and edge both sides into a conflict. However, Vladimir Makarov still has a grand plan for what's going to happen to Hadir Karim and Al-Qatala. Just starting a war between two countries is not enough. He wants Al-Qatala and the cartel to actively engage the US government. This is going to bring out a war on multiple fronts. No country in history has ever won a war on multiple fronts. Germany couldn't do it, Napoleon couldn't do it, no one can. The multiple fronts the Americans are going to have to fight on is they're going to have to fight Hadir Karim and Al-Qatala doing terrorist attacks against the US military, the Russian military in all their might, quote unquote, and the cartel who's trying to smuggle all these terrorists into the country. This is building up to a massive world conflict, and Hadir Karim is kind of right at the center of it. Not only is he working with Makarov to make all this happen, he wants this to happen. He does not care if the Russians and the Americans go and kill themselves because they'll be out of his country. All he cares about is starting a war and trying to fight for his land, his territory, his control, and spread Al-Qatala as an organization. But Hadir Karim's story is not going to just end in Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. We have 4 Modern Warfare games in this new series. There's going to be Modern Warfare 3 coming out this year and a Modern Warfare 4 coming out in 2025. This means that Modern Warfare series will have Hadir Karim on it as a villain for a long time, which likely means his story's not over. His story won't just end with the raids in Modern Warfare 2, his story will keep going because he is an integral part to the story going forward. Not only is Hadir Karim Khaled al Asad, he is the right-hand man for Vladimir Makarov. I want to know your theories down below in the comments. What do you think is going to happen to Hadir Karim? There's going to be a Modern Warfare 3 and a Modern Warfare 4. Do you think he's just going to disappear after Modern Warfare 2? Because I don't, but I want you to tell me in the comments below. And if you want to know about the next 3 years of Call of Duty titles that have all been leaked, I'll include a link to a video I made right here. And until next time, I am Icebergs, your Call of Duty informant. stay frosty.